Yasu Milene Brian Echo Bagoto. Or I could say Tha ithala ena bagoto me santigi. That's I would like ice cream with whipped cream. I have just completed Mondly's categories, all of the categories that are set by Mondly. Very happy with that. I'll show you there. They're the sort of screens that you have, and each icon has 7 or 8 different categories with some statements and sentences that you have to complete. So Mondly is very good at delivering a lot of these to you at very high volumes. I have done about 15,000, 16,000 sentences or screens where I have to do something to complete a sentence. There are different ways of using Mondly. I've spent about 93 hours on it. I've got 2,600 words according to this and 2,200 phrases. There's the end screen there. I don't know why this pink hasn't completed. Perhaps I got some wrong. I've done 110 days in a row, which is perhaps half an hour a day for the last while. And essentially there's a number of screens and a number of points that you get up. You can count the number of words, the number of phrases, the number of points, and I find it useful to try to aim to do a certain number of points per day. I like Mondly. I like that it's able to deliver a lot of sentences. At the beginning, it was very important to me to get the right sort of vocabulary, and it's pretty good at, you can pick categories that are relevant to you and delivering good phrases to that, and not spending a lot of time at the beginning of learning phrases that you're never going to use. At 2,500 words for the last while, I have been happy to increase my word count with phrases that I may not use very often. Mondly's good at delivering you certain phrases. There is some grammar in there, but mostly I find it is about offering you something, getting you to react. A lot of the things are quite simple, especially at the beginner or intermediate level. I think at the advanced level you have to type more things, and there's a mix of how you interact with Mondly for these. So there are a few settings where you can make it, you can do something simple, you can go a bit harder. The approach I've taken is to do a large volume of screens and statements and just be able to complete them, rather than slowing down and being sure that I knew every word, that I knew all the grammar, that I knew all the spelling, etc. I want to go through it relatively fast to get a general familiarization. There are different approaches to doing language, but that means that I've got much more volume. I'm used to interacting a lot. I'm used to seeing phrases, and there's a sort of memory that comes with repetition of little tasks that is, I think, different to the very analytical and learn something until you and stop until you go on. So there are different ways of doing it, and you can use the app in different ways for that. If you press on a button, you can get a English translation usually. Mondly overall can go from one language to another language, not necessarily English, but you can learn lots of languages. There are different ways of doing it. And there are daily lessons as well, which I have done quite a number of, but I have plenty more to do, probably 1,000 more daily lessons to do. So really a huge amount of vocabulary in Mondly. I think it's very good for giving you relevant phrases, and in many ways I have to choose how I react to that. And I have a little system whereby I first off want to recognize the words, want to be able to complete a sentence, want to be able to recognize words and then sentences as well. I want to build up also grammar and spelling, and knowing where the accent, the tonus is, and other things, other general meaning, and whether it's a dialect or various things like that, wider context. So that's the way I'm using Mondly. I do like it. I bought the many languages all-time version of it. There are different ways of doing that. And I hope to do a few more videos of how I how I interact with Mondly. So do try it out. My name's Brian, and I have a Facebook group, Practice and Learn Greek, and I also will talk about how I'm using Mondly, but I'm also trying to interact and use my Greek in that more and more. Please look below this video for text on how to subscribe to Mondly with a discount.